ESBeamTool Zonal is an add-on module for ESBeamTool 4.1 and newer. This add-on provides the ability to define zones within the weld regions and unlocks the Zonal Beamset, which will calculate the most appropriate beam set to ensure coverage of each zone in a fraction of the time it would take to do by hand. To start, configure your piece to match your requirements in the piece configuration window. Now you can configure your weld. From the drop-down list, select a suitable weld type and add or modify regions as required. In the Tools menu, select Add-on Manager and make sure the add-on is activated. Activation, if required, is similar to activating a BeamTool license. Now the option to show zones is available. These zones are created following the zone parameters and is based on the defined maximum length of the zone face along the fusion line. By default, zones are created at the top of the upper fill and at the bottom of the root. The rest of these regions are divided into zones based on the parameters entered. However, there is an option to overlap these default zones. They will still remain, but will not be considered when dividing these regions into zones as per the defined parameters. With the part and weld configured, we can add a phased array probe and a zonal beam set. Select the solve icon in the Zonal Beamset configuration window. The beam solver algorithm will determine the best focal law for each zone. This algorithm follows rules determined by each zone's location. A table of these rules can be found in the help content under Phased Array Beamset Configuration Zonal. If at this time you receive a message unable to solve for zones X, it means it could not solve according to the rules for that zone and may have to be manually added or modified. If you close the Zonal Beamset configuration window, all beam sets will be shown at once. This is not ideal for seeing what is happening. Open the Zonal configuration window and all beam sets will be grayed out with the exception of the current selected beam. Here you can see I have 7 fill zones, a hot pass zone, 3 root zones, and 5 volumetric zones. ESBeamTool Zonal is an add-on module for ESBeamTool 4.1 and newer. In the Zonal Beamset configuration window, you can also add, delete, and modify the individual beam sets as well as their gates and focus. Contact Eclipse staff for information regarding exporting focal laws to acquisition instruments.